Justin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. How you doing today? I hope you're having a great day here today. And I'm going to continue to say something that I know a lot of people don't really enjoy when I say this, but you need to treat your personal finances as if you're a big company, right? And I see the comments on there. Trust me, I see your comments where, oh, the big companies get bailouts and, you know, they can go bankrupt and all that stuff. I hear excuses. That's all I hear. You can give me a hard time if you like. I hear a bunch of excuses. At the end of the day, big companies, public companies, they have the best of the best working to save them and pinch every last penny that they can to report the biggest possible gain in terms of overall earnings, revenue, whatever it may be, to shareholders. Because at the end of the day, if you don't see something good, you're going to go invest in something else. Why don't we treat our personal finances the same way, where you have to create the best possible bottom line, and top line for that matter, for your personal finances, no matter what it takes. You do whatever it takes. If it makes you have to work a little bit harder at it, I feel bad for you. All right, well, today I want to give you an example of a time where you may have to refinance your credit card debt, right? You may consider, and I don't mean just switching over to a balance transfer. We have a really interesting point in time right now where if you find yourself with credit card debt, you may be able to go get a personal loan to save some money there. And I want to give you an example both on the board and in the nest egg here. Now, is this right? Should you do this? Absolutely. I'll stand by this 100%. If you have the opportunity to save on a lower interest rate, force yourself to make payments, and you qualify and you're a good steward of your own personal debt and you're willing to do the right thing here, then of course, let's go for this. This could be a real disaster for all these companies that are offering personal loans, because there's a massive shift going on right now where people are moving money from credit cards to personal loans. And that could be a bit of a bubble for the personal loan category, but nonetheless, everybody's marketing this, they're putting them out there, and it's like half the rate. So if you have a 20% credit card and you can get a 10% fixed loan on that, yeah, why wouldn't you do it? Let me give you an example here. We're going to go over to the chart and we're going to say, let's assume that you have $25,000 that you have to figure out what to do with. Currently, it's on a credit card and it's at 20% interest, right? So you're paying 20% interest on that thing and you're like, man, I hate this credit card. I just really want to get rid of this thing. And you put yourself on a plan. Let's say you go 5 years. All right, I'm on a 5-year plan. I know I could take a lot longer, but I'm going to take 5 years to pay this off. You work it out, it comes out to $662 that you're going to pay a month. It's going to take you 5 years to pay off this debt, right? Yeah, that's what I got there. Now, over that 5 years, you're going to pay back the $25,000 plus about $14,786 in interest. $25,000 plus the $14,786. Now imagine you're at a big company here and your job is to look over the finances of the company. You look at that and you go, that seems like a lot. Can we get something cheaper? Is there anything better I can do to save this company money? Pretend, right? You're in this ballpark. You go, okay, here's what we got to do. We're going to have to refinance that debt. We're going to have to find a way to refinance, and we're going to look for something fixed, and companies do this every single day. We're going to look for something fixed. We're going to look for a way to offset this debt, make it a whole lot cheaper. So what are you going to do? In this case, you could look at a personal loan, right? Personal loans right now averaging, we're going to use 10% because it's easy. You're 10 to 12% somewhere in there. But let's say you go get a personal loan for 10%, assuming you qualify again and you're willing to go do all of this. You should be willing to go do all this. But what this puts you at, if you're going to do a 5-year, same thing. You're saying I'm on a credit card, I was going to do 5 years. Let me do a 5-year fixed personal loan here. That's going to put you for 60 months at $531 a month. So you're paying less over time versus the $662. Is it $531? It is $531. Okay. Now, what you're going to do in this case is it's going to cost you the $25,000. You got to pay your debt back. I mean, you borrowed the money. You got to take it back. Plus, in this case, you are actually going to pay back a total principal, or interest of $68.71, right? It's about $7,500 difference between the credit cards over the long run. Now, it's going to take you some time. You're going to have to go do this. There's a company called Upstart out there. I think it was run by some Googlers back in the day. What they do is they will actually give you a loan. They'll pay your credit cards off, and then you pay off the loan, right? You're saving money. Right? You don't have to actually run your credit and everything to check to see what your rate would be with them, because they actually base it based on your employment history and other metrics based, just besides your credit score. So you might get a better rate, right? So something to consider. You want to take a look at this. There's also some other companies called Fiona. Credible is one that they is set up for student loans. If you're finding you might want to do something different with your student loans there, try to save some money. The bottom line is you can check the rate without your credit getting hit or anything. So here's an example to show you in sort of real world here using Nest Egg. This is a financial planning software that we give every one of our customers. We just call it Nest Egg because it's a cute little name for it. We've got a simulation here of Mr. and Mrs. Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong is the focus today. And we're going to pretend that Louis Armstrong does have a $25,000 credit card debt. Now, you can model this. All of our customers can play with all this stuff in here, but we're going to say he's got $25,000 on credit cards because he's got a trumpet addiction. Now we can actually go over to his profile here and we can take a look at this card. So it's a $25,000 card. It's got a 20% interest rate. We're going to say the minimum payment's $400. I don't know what it is because we're doing a different example here today. We're going to say $400. All right. So we go back over to his debt column here. We're going to look and see what do we got. If we stick with this and we force ourselves to be on a 5-year plan with the numbers that I just gave you there, that's going to put you at $662 a month, right? So we're going to actually go $262 extra additional payment here so that we can pay this thing off in 5 years. What you're going to see is, okay, yep, that does save you some money. You do get it knocked out in just about 5 years there, almost perfectly. This is where you would have been, and this is where you're going to be by paying the extra $260 a month if you just focus on the credit cards. That's not bad. You're saving a whole bunch there by not dragging this thing out. You're getting it paid off 150 months sooner. You're saving $45,000 by not just making what we have labeled as the minimum payment of $400 a month. All right, so that's that one there. You go, okay, it's a 5-year plan. Now, let's go look at the refi here. What if we go and we get a fixed rate? Just so you know, I already plugged it in here. I'm going to delete this for a second. I already plugged it in there as, oh, I put it in wrong. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we got the $25,000, and if I go back here just to the tab real quick, I'm going to show you. I put it as a loan just so we'd have it in here. So he's got this refi loan. 531 is the minimum monthly payment on the 5-year note, which is exactly what we pointed out a second ago. It's going to be paid off in 2024, indicating that it is a 60-month loan. So let's go back to his debt there, and let's take a look. So what if we've got $531 as a minimum payment, but we want to still pay the $662? Now, what if we refinance that credit card loan and we find out, yeah, we only have to pay the $531, but we were willing to pay the $662? See, we're only refinancing to save money, but in reality, if you have the money to make that extra payment, let's do it. What is that, 131, yeah, that'll be $662 there. So if we take a look at this, now by refinancing that credit card debt into something of a lower interest there and paying the little bit extra, so we're full at the $662, we're saving an additional $1,408, knocking it out 4 months before the end of that term loan in this case. So it's $1,408 in difference that you could model and save for your own sort of money there. Now, if I go back over to this one here, we're taking $1,400 off the $6,871, right? So we're I don't know, I looked at the number differently. So we're saving $1,408 overall off the $6,870. So by refinancing 10%, give or take, right? You might be at 12%. Don't not do it because you get an 11% rate or something, right? 5-year loan, $531. We're going to make the extra payment on it of the $131. So this really becomes the $662, which is what you'd have to do for the credit card anyways to knock it out in 5 years. With me? We're still good? You're paying back the $25,000. You were going to pay $6,871. You get to knock $1,500 off of that right off the top there. That's how these big companies are doing it over and over again. They look at every penny. I don't care what your opinion is on this process. I don't care if you go, oh, that doesn't make any sense, taking on different debt, and what about my credit score and all that stuff? I don't care. If you think like a corporation, a big company, the goal is to pay less money. It raises the overall profitability of the company. In this case, we're talking about your personal finances. You report to yourself and your family to say, look, all right, I got a plan. It took me a minute. I had to put this all down. I figured out what I'm going to do. But if we do this, we are saving not only the $7,500 that we would have paid on the credit card plan, but we're also going to save $1,408 more because we're going to pay a little bit more. That's the goal. See, budgeting, savings, and all this stuff, it doesn't always have to do with, well, cut out the Starbucks, right? Or we just want you to not go to the movies as much, right? Quit supersizing your meals, right? A lot of times it has to do with making just little tweaks like this, taking the initiative, shopping around for the loan, going and get a lower rate, figure out what that dollar amount difference is, then write it down and go, does that make sense to do it? Are we saving money in the long run by doing this, right? Sometimes you got to do that. Well, I help every one of our customers with problems like this, which are temporary in nature because we help them work to pay off this stuff and get their dough straight. I hope you'll keep us in mind at Jazz Wealth. We give all of our customers the financial planning software if they want to play along, but I give it to them as if they are financial planners too, so they have full access. They don't have to just trust me. They have full access to make all the changes that they want to make along the way. So I hope you'll keep us in mind. Check us out. Always about helping everybody get their dough straight. Just kind of a fun, laid-back way to say it. So I hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. Hey, we do a show every day. We'll be back at 5 o'clock live. It's on our YouTube channel. It's called The Closing Beat. We go over the stock market, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you know I've always got some good stuff for you there. So I hope you'll check us out. Maybe hit the subscribe button and all that great stuff I'm supposed to ask you to do. Takes a lot of work to put these shows together, but I'm happy to do it. You guys are supportive, and I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.